everyone, today I am going to be doing my Q&A video that I've been talking about, and I have gotten a ton of questions regarding mostly Mikayla, and anyways, I'm just gonna go through my comments. I have my computer in front of me here, and I'll just go through them one by one. I'll try and get through as many as I can, and then yeah, so we'll just get into it. So the first question I got was actually on a video that I had done probably 2 years or more, maybe even 3 years ago, and it was of Mikayla's room tour. And Hannah Taylor asks, why can't the cat be on Mikayla's bed? And this is just basically because Mikayla wiggles her toes and the cats will try and attack her toes because they think it's a toy. That's why the cats aren't allowed on the bed. It has nothing to do with allergies or immune system, nothing like that. Just basically that they attack her feet. Mrs. Phoebe, I believe it's pronounced, asks, do you only do this when she's sick or congested? And that's referring to my chest physiotherapy video. And yes, for the most part, we do it just when she's sick. I do it after she's over her sickness, just as a prevention for at least 2 weeks after she's gotten better, just to help to make sure that nothing's going to come back. I believe how you say this name is Amira Ray, and she commented, what do you usually take when going out with Mikayla, and what do you have in her wheelchair? Basically, I have a diaper bag video, and I will have that link below to kind of show you what I take. That's what we take pretty much all the time for Mikayla. Usually 2 sets of clothes, diapers, wipes, extra receiving blankets for her drool. I usually take puffers with her aero chamber, her health card, of course. I also take an extra, basically, supply bag, and also in case her G-tube comes out, I always have a catheter on hand, and that's actually right with her health card, so that way everything's ready to go and we can head to the hospital if we need to. And of course her feed and medications. As for her wheelchair, we usually have a bike pump in the van at all times, also her oxygen if she's on oxygen, and the basically opener for the oxygen, as well as regulators and that type of thing. Sophie Van Wild asks, does she have a Facebook page? And no, she doesn't. Shelby Swanton asks, did you take Kyle's last name? And yes, I will be sort of taking Kyle's last name. I'm gonna have the same name as my kids, and that's a combination of both my last name and Kyle's last name. Lillian Frost asks, quick question, do you remove hate comments? And I don't necessarily get a lot of hate comments, but if there are some, I will remove a few, yes. Ange C85 asks, are you guys still going to try for baby number 3? She also mentions that I would love to see a wedding slideshow and 10 baby names tag. Now, wedding slideshow, I did actually finish that, and I was supposed to have that up on Monday, and my computer ended up totally screwing up. My hard drive went kaput, and so I'm trying to get that video up. For some reason it won't save properly, so I'm trying to get that done. I'll get it done when I can. As for baby number 3, yes, eventually we do want another baby. As of right now, we're not currently trying, but we'll just see when that happens. Ange C85 also asks, oh, and what part in Canada are you in? We are in Ontario. And congratulations on your wedding. Hannah Taylor also asks, do you brush Mikayla's teeth? No, we don't really brush her teeth. Because she doesn't eat by mouth, she will never get cavities. But she does get what's called calcia on her teeth. And I basically use a metal toothpick to pick off the calcia. It's basically calcium, I want to say. I'm not too positive on that, but the dentist said that basically what we do is just pick it off her teeth. So that's what we do for oral care, as well as we will take a washcloth that's wet or a blanket or something and just wipe her mouth. That way It just helps her mouth feel better. Also, we do have the little sponge toothbrushes like you get in the hospital. We do use those once in a while, but she doesn't get her teeth brushed. As for dentistry, we don't go to dentistry very often. The last couple times that she had gone to dentistry, she ended up with pneumonia from aspiration, and it is just not worth her going into the dentist when they don't really do much anyways for her to end up in the hospital. Life with Brookie asks, is Mikayla able to smile? Yes, she's able to smile. However, she doesn't do it very often. So when she does do it, it's a once in a lifetime moment. Amira Ray asks again, do you have a suction machine for her? Yes, we do. And I will also link below Mikayla's equipment video down below, so that way you can see what she does and doesn't have. AS asks, so you don't provide any mental or physical stimulation or therapy throughout the day. She literally lays there all day. Other than chest physio, no stimulation toys, music, or anything? So I wanted to address this because this was one of the main comments that I had gotten regarding Mikayla's routine video. And yes, we do provide stimulation. She does listen to music during the day. She loves country music. She has for years now. So she does get that. I just didn't show that in the video because we didn't play it that day. But for the most part, if she is laying in the living room by herself for a minute or whatever, we'll play music for her. As for visual toys, Mikayla is laying down, so it's difficult to put something in front of her and for her to focus on it. And basically I have a 2-year-old and he would just tear it down anyways. To sit in her chair and look at something, sitting in her chair isn't good for Mikayla. It makes her very wet and raspy and makes things difficult, even more difficult than it already is. So we choose not to put her in her chair most of the time during the day. If she's sick and we really need her to breathe a little bit better, because the thing is with Mikayla, she breathes, like her oxygen saturation will go up when she's sitting in her chair, but her respiratory sounds are way worse. So when she lays down, yes, her oxygen saturation is a little bit lower, but she can actually breathe without choking on her own saliva. So we try not to put her in her chair during the day. If we want to, we can. However, again, if we set something on her tray that she has for her chair, Damien would just tear it down anyways. As for stimulation toys, we have tried things in the past, and Mikayla has no purposeful movements. So other than her head, she does not move her arms and limbs because she wants to. They're more of a reaction to something. I don't want to say reaction to something, but almost like a startling movement versus, oh, I'm going to go grab this, or I want to touch this. So that's one of the reasons why she doesn't get stimulation toys. Also, with her head, it's the one thing that we have found that she does actually move purposefully. She'll look to see something, but yet it's still not as good as what we can do or control. And for Mikayla, the only stimulation toy that we have really found that works is a push button that she can look, and it'll push the button and it'll play music. Now with that, she has to be sitting up again to do that. So like I said before, she doesn't sit in her chair very often because of her respiratory. So all of these things contribute to why a lot of the time we don't do stimulation for her. She constantly gets stimulation through the day from her brother showing her things, from the dog running around, from us going up and talking to her and rubbing her and moving her. We do move her limbs so that she doesn't get stiff. She also has wrist braces that we have made so when her arms are flexed, that way we can straighten them out. So I do have a video on that of when we went and got her first set of those. So I'll have that link below. You can watch that. But we do have that. Also, we have a great team of therapists that are involved with Mikayla. We have speech pathology, we have occupational therapy, we have physiotherapy. I know there's a few others, but anyways, we are involved with a great team that helps us let us know what is most important for Mikayla. We discuss what we feel is most important for Mikayla, because our goal in Mikayla's life is for her to be the most comfortable possible. And we have found with stimulation, too much stimulation, Mikayla can end up having seizures. She gets very stressed out, and even then she can actually become sick because of too much stimulation. So all these things contribute to why we don't do a lot of stimulation. And also, Mikayla is now 7 years old, and in Ontario you are required by 6 years old to be in school legally. So at 6 years old, we had registered for what's called home instruction, and that is when an EA or a teacher comes into the home and will teach Mikayla. Now, she's not being taught ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. This is actual physical therapy that she's getting when this person comes into the home. And we did start out with year 6, so that was grade 1, last year with an EA. It was up to 10 hours a week that she could come, and for the most part it worked out well. We were doing therapy with her, we were starting to move her joints a little bit more than normal, and she was loosening up a little bit. As of right now, Mikayla is not very stiff, and I know some of you have commented like so that she doesn't stiffen up, and that's very true. If you leave her too long, she will stiffen and you won't be able to move her joints, you won't be able to dress her, you won't be able to bathe her properly. So I know all that factors into stimulation and movement. So I want to say about halfway through the school year last year, the AEA actually got into an accident and she was hurt very badly and she could no longer come. In our area, we're in a rural area, and there is only one school that is close by, and not many people like to come out here. So we had a problem with finding an EA to come out to our home, and I refuse to send Mikayla to school because of how sick she can get so easily. Mikayla getting sick, it can cause her death. So in April, we actually went into the hospital and she got sick with a cold and she almost died. I will have a video link below talking about that stay so that you can understand a little bit more about Mikayla's respiratory sicknesses. And so anyways, we couldn't find an EA and the school year had ended. So this year we again posted an ad to see if anyone would come out to our home, and no one was willing to come out to our home because we're so far away from everyone and it's only up to 10 hours. It's difficult times during the day because usually the EA that is going to come out is already working in a school, so it would have to be after hours or weekend hours. We posted the ad, and just recently, about 2 weeks ago, someone had applied for the job. So we had a school meeting to see if it would work for us, and she is actually going to start after the Christmas holidays. So Mikayla will be getting physical therapy once again. I, as well as my therapy team, will be teaching this EA how to do Mikayla's physical therapy, and this includes things like eye stimulation and speaking stimulation and that type of and that type of thing. So there is plenty of opportunity for Mikayla to get stimulation during the day. It just hasn't happened right now because I'm trying to get her better. And right now, it is not worth stressing her out and causing her seizures and causing her to not become better just to move her joints and limbs. So yes, we do move her during the day. I just showed you in Mikayla's routine video what we do on a daily basis every day. Mainly her medications and her feed, her diaper changes, her moving from her bed to her couch, that type of thing. Of course, I didn't show you when she gets bathed. That's not every day, so that's not in her daily routine. So there's a lot of different things that, of course, I didn't show in that video. I just wanted to show you the basics. Sorry, I hope that wasn't so much of a rant. I just wanted to explain to you guys exactly what happens here. Again, like you guys don't see anywhere even 10% of what goes on during the day. So anyways, that's just the answer of that question. Tori McCool asks, when did you find out Mikayla had the disease or syndrome? So what Mikayla has is not a disease. It is a disorder. And basically she has lissencephaly type 1. And she was diagnosed at 5 months old. However, this syndrome or disorder happens when they are 12 gestation weeks. That is when she is in the womb, and it happens at 12 weeks pregnant. So what happened is she is missing a chromosome as well as 4 other bits and pieces of chromosomes. So the one missing chromosome causes her lissencephaly. Lissencephaly basically is smooth brain. She's missing 2 layers of her brain, and that's what causes her to be developmentally delayed, as well as causes her seizures. I want to assure you guys that Mikayla is involved with one of the best hospitals in the world, the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And honestly, she has an amazing team of doctors that cover her whole entire body. And I mean, they are the most intelligent people I have ever met, and they have assured us that nothing that we have done in Mikayla's life has caused Mikayla's disorder. It was there when she was born. We just didn't know about it. And there was little things that started happening way before we even found out about Mikayla's disorder that led to finding out about her disorder. So I know there was someone commenting about vaccines. Vaccines did not do this to Mikayla. She has had this since the day she was born. And honestly, I have no issues with vaccines, and I'm totally okay with you guys having different opinions on that. But for someone to go and comment on each person's question and say it was vaccines and this is what caused it and that type of thing, that's not what happened with Mikayla. We went and saw genetic doctors to see if we had done this to Mikayla, because there could have been a missing part of gene in Kyle or I. There's nothing to do with that. I asked about questions of things I had done while I was pregnant because I was 16 and didn't know I was pregnant, and they assured us nothing we did caused Mikayla's disorder, even in the womb. This was just a complete fluke thing that happened, and Mikayla was supposed to be that way. If it had been a vaccine, I would very much assume that Damien would have issues, and I'm just very upset that someone could go around and completely tell lies, basically. And I know there are probably different situations where people have had things happen to them because of vaccines, and I think that's totally correct. But for Mikayla, this was not a vaccine issue. Lisa Hudson asks, what is her quality of life for the future? And I know what she's talking about this, and quality of life basically means you're not laying there being a vegetable, because life isn't worth living if you're just laying there being a vegetable. However, in Mikayla's case, she's not laying there staring off into the world and doesn't know what's going on, and isn't aware of her surroundings. Mikayla is fully aware of surroundings and always has someone speaking to her. Damien's always touching her and loving her and kissing her. And Mikayla's quality of life for the future basically looks the same way it does now. We are completely okay with how she's living. She is comfortable. She is happy. She's the most content little girl I have ever seen, and I'm okay with that. Kyle and I have discussed what we want her quality of life to be, and we have discussed it with our doctors as well, and we are all in agreeance that Mikayla's quality of life is just fine. As for the future, we know Mikayla will probably pass away a lot sooner than the average human being, just because of respiratory issues or seizure issues, that type of thing. So we do know that she will pass, let's say, before I do. Mrs. Phoebe asks, do you get the same hunger growls when you have a feeding tube? Will Mikayla show signs of grumpiness, etc., if she gets fed late or feels hungry? So yes, Mikayla will get those hungry growls if she is fed late. However, for the most part, we try not to feed her late. Usually we're pretty on time, but there are the odd times where we're out and it's just like, oops, we totally forgot her feed. But Mikayla doesn't show very many signs of grumpiness unless something's really wrong. So she's a very content girl and she doesn't really get upset if she's hungry. And we usually notice before she would actually go hungry. So yeah, but she does show that sign of like gurgliness in her tummy. And if we've waited too long, we'll actually hear like the little fluids like gurgling in her tummy when we give her medications or that type of thing. Joni Ames asks, do you have a P.O. box for mail? And no, we do not yet. Maybe in the future, but as of right now, no, I don't. If you guys have any comments or messages that you would like to send me through my YouTube, go ahead, do that. That's private, so you guys can do that for now until we get a P.O. box maybe one day, but for right now we don't have a P.O. box. Deborah Pearson asks, can you do a video on what medicine Mikayla takes and why she takes them, and what is the medicine supposed to do for her, I think she asks. So basically her medication, she's on 3 different ones: clobazam, Keppra, and valproic acid. Keppra is 750 milligrams twice a day. Clobazam is 10 milligrams twice a day, and her valproic acid is 250 milligrams in the morning, 250 milligrams in the afternoon, and then 375 at night. All 3 medications are seizure medications. So basically what they do for her is for her to not have seizures. And they've worked fairly well for the last a lot of years, I want to say. We have just kind of found what works for her, and of course they will change in the future, and they do change every so often. Megan Louise, do you want any more kids? And yes, I do. Kyle is on the fence about it, but I'm pretty sure he wants at least 1 more. I want 2 more. Katie Robinson asked, does she get music or TV to watch, some sort of stimulation? And yes, I did answer that. She doesn't watch TV. She won't focus on it. But music she loves. Also, I wanted to mention Mikayla loves natural things. She doesn't necessarily like fake things or made up things. So she loves listening to birds and wind and ocean waves, and she loves looking at the trees and her surroundings and that type of thing, versus holding a toy in front of her and her focusing on that. She would much rather look around at her surroundings. Justin Beaver asks, is Michaelas Brain also disabled, or is she like an average 6-year-old on the inside? So I did explain she is missing 2 layers of her brain, and we don't know exactly how much Mikayla knows either. She will listen to us and look at us and show signs that she recognizes us and listens. But for Mikayla, we're not sure if she understands, Mikayla, move your arm, or Mikayla, are you okay? That type of thing. We're not sure exactly what she understands. So it's hard to tell because she doesn't communicate with us. Yes, there are the different types of sounds she makes and the movement that she makes. I can understand if she's happy, sad, upset, content, that type of thing. But it's hard to know exactly what she understands. Jennifer Butler asks, does she only get her feed? Does she have liquids during the day like we drink than other meals? Do you rotate her, or does she stay on one side? So Jennifer, she gets liquids during the day. She gets her flushes. There's also water that goes into her feed, and she gets what she requires during the day. For the amount of movement that Mikayla does, she is well beyond what she requires as for calorie intake and her vitamins and mineral intake. Liquids, giving her many more liquids wouldn't really do much for her. She would just pee it out. So as for her liquids, she is quite good with liquids. And giving her anything like juice, it doesn't really do anything for her other than provide sugar. She can't taste what's going into her tummy, so that's basically why she gets water. When she's sick, we will lower her feed, as in her formula, and then up her water intake. We just base it on how she's doing. And then also, for the most part, she lays on one side during the night and one side during the day. We've never had any problem with pressure sores or bed sores, knock on wood. But for the most part, she lays on either side. And if we feel like she's sick, we will rotate her a lot more to get things moving in her chest. But she's still always being moved on the couch. She's never staying in one position. We're always constantly shifting her if we need to. If she coughs, we'll turn her head a little bit more, that type of thing. John Moore asks, do you ever tie balloons to Mikayla's arms and legs and let her move the balloons about? Would she enjoy that? Perhaps attach some wind chimes, wind socks, or mobiles to the ceiling and either tie ribbons from them to Mikayla's arms and legs to see if she would move them, or let Mikayla hit the hanging ceiling objects with balloons that are tied to Mikayla. That is a very good suggestion. We've never tried balloons other than in the hospital one time. I tied one to her wrist. That was when she was very young, before we knew that she even had her disorder. And as for wind chimes, I think that would be very startling for Mikayla. Her hearing is perfect, so something like wind chimes, it would have to be a very calming sound of wind chimes. It wouldn't be like the loud wind chimes. But tying things from the ceiling, that's a good suggestion. I don't know if we could do that right now because of Damien, but yeah, that's definitely something to consider in the future. And see how it goes. Like I said previously, she doesn't reach for objects, so that wouldn't really do anything for her, but the noise of the wind chimes and maybe the balloon moving in front of her face would be okay, because it would be a slight movement. But yeah, so good suggestion. Thank you. Fabio Artivia? Something like that, sorry. Fabio says, hello, how are you? I'm from Brazil. I love the videos. Do more. Thank you. Hi. I can't believe that someone from Brazil is watching my videos. I also had someone comment from Scotland. Hi. Thank you. So guys, I think that's all for my questions. I hope I answered everyone's questions. If I didn't, leave them in the comments below in this video, and maybe I'll do another Q&A. Thank you so much for watching and asking your questions. I really like doing Q&As and letting you guys know what you want to know. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you for my Monday's video. Bye guys.